I don't feel like it.
Also, do you have a lot of people that you hate that you're like constantly having to come in contact?
Like this just for
That's for those who hug.
But there are a lot of people I don't want to hug though.
Yeah, I think it has to be something. I mean, I think any form of positive physical contact is probably good.
But what about the person you just met and they're like, "Oh, I don't shake hands. I'm a hugger."
Yeah.
And you're like,
If you're by somebody who cares for you and that you can embrace it.
like I'm an extrovert and I'm a toucher, but I know not to hug random strangers.
I am an ambivert and a moderate toucher. Yes, I am outwardly extroverted, but I do not gain energy from that. Social interactions drain me. They make Corey just more and more excited. It like fuels him.
What am I?
There's a whole world out there. You don't have to pick introvert or extrovert.
You could be an ambivert.
What's an ambivert?
Say what I said.
It's someone who is, because I'm not introverted in that, like, I don't like social interactions. I love them. I don't like to put myself out there. But I get very,
But after a party, mom wants to crash on the couch by herself.
That's why every day, every year at Black Friday is Mom's sad day. Because I spent all day long on Thanksgiving on the whole time. And then I literally every year, and I forget every year, and Corey's like, "Feel like this is just your sad day." I'm like, "Oh,
Wait,
yeah."
no, but that day is the Women's Club for Generation.
No, that's the next day because we can't do it that day. We have to do Christmas on the Saturday because I can't do anything else. Oh, Lordy. Can I? I'm like, I just did this all day long with all these people.
You have to tell me.
I don't know, you're 10. You can't really know yet. You haven't blossomed into your full self.
Into your true self.
No? I think around 17 we can talk about it.
No.
And even then, it's kind of up for grabs. It's either like 24.
What am I?
Because, I mean, I feel like around 17, you're at least more, you could probably know a few things. And then really, like your mid-20s. And then you're kind of like, all right, I don't have time for this. This is who I am. Let me reveal myself.
This is me now.
Yeah.
What?
I'm confused. Are she supposed to be in Texas?
Yeah, they keep kicking that pretty bad.
Yeah.
Why?
It's the weather. First is the heat. I think right now, places that they would like, that they could like legally go and sample.
You mean
so
a-
like land under immigration.
You want to hook up to it?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
So now you're just chilling until they're.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do that work.
All right.
It's supposed to be like early October.
Oh man.
This room looks so good.
Yeah. I guess it's great. It's crazy what like tidying and straightening will do.
So we're gonna do communion off the shelf now.
Yeah. If you go back to the bookshelf over there.
Wait,
Shelf 1 is the
Ryan
juice. Shelf 2 is wine. Shelf 3 is tequila.
What kind of communion are we doing? You want to be real drunk, literally drunk on the spirit.
You got crackers. You got
Pop-Tarts.
the
Tequila Pop-Tarts.
SB. Yeah.
Here's
Shelf
your
1.
Wildberry.
Yeah. Shelf 1 Wildberry Pop Tart. Shelf 2 the SBC crackers. Shelf 3 Rip and Dip loaf. Shelf 4 gluten free. So you have to reach for it.
Yeah.
You get trauma from the SBC.
I love them. I'll eat those. Yeah, dude, I'll eat those things. Not the styrofoam ones, but like the little squares that were like on the plates.
Oh, the squares are tough.
Put those in a cup, baby, and I'm having a moment.
What did the
The
peel
wafer
back
that
ones?
comes
Yeah. Yeah, that's not real. That's plastic.
And when I was like in 6th grade, 7th grade, we had communion. We had those. And then I mean, it clearly was the stomach bug afterward, but like on the way home, I got the stomach bug. And I literally was freaking out that I was like, I took it in wrong spirit, and now this is what's happening. Like, I was freaking out, like, oh my God, this was shooting. I knew I wasn't ready to take it, and now I'm
Dang.
vomiting everywhere.
Talk about fear though. It's like taking communion growing up. It's like, what if I
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
God
yeah.
gave me the stomach
Yeah.
bug because I didn't apologize to somebody, right? I didn't have a repentant heart.
It's like I went to the bathroom and dropped the F bomb. This guy like, am I gonna die? I didn't apologize for it. I told
Are
my
you
brother
making a
that.
phone call?
Yeah. Hello.
What if you apologize but you didn't mean it enough?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, in 3-4 weeks, our lives slow down for 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks off.
Wow.
And so, because there's dead weeks between baseball and basketball, because this is our lives now.
Yeah.
And and so we have to make sure we have a good family.
Ooh, we need to do that. We haven't played that. We played for like 2 weeks straight every night.
Yeah.
So,
So we need to make sure that we do that. Oh man. Every day for the
There we
last 2 weeks, I just keep telling myself
Sweet.
I love my life. I love my life.
All right.
Well, 2 people just got up and walked away.
Let's go and get started.
Now they got the music off.
sitting there.
Sit silent. Silence and solitude.
Rainy, what is the last word of your? Tell your cat I said. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, I can't tell what that's supposed to say.
My mom got that for me. And
It's
I'm
really
not
funny.
Not a car sticker person, so.
Super dope based off social media.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Like, y'all look wild. Like y'all just like living it up. Going bowling,
bowling,
hanging out,
bowling is fun.
dancing.
line dancing. My friend of mine got
Dang.
to like lead one of the line dances.
Yeah, bro.
She's like mini Dolly Parton, and it was
Man.
hilarious.
College is awesome. Don't I can't. No one can convince me otherwise. College is awesome. I love college. I don't know if that makes me a frat guy, but
I wish I could go back.
that's what I've said that for
All the
years. I'm like,
time.
I've said that like no one like you couldn't pay me to go back to high school, but I'd go back to college tomorrow.
Were you the guy that left college but never left college?
Probably. Honestly. I just
College
like
never left you.
I
that's
just
why
like-
trying to apply to colleges.
yeah, it's just like you never get in that mode. You're crossing paths with so many different people every single day. The most human connection you will ever get in your entire life happens in a 4-year span from 18 to 22 when you literally at the most knucklehead you ever are. Sorry. And it's like, dang, like that's just like you don't get many. They're like you graduate college. Sorry, this is the downer. Then you go work a job, and you're like, you see the same people the rest of your life, which is not a bad thing because there's beauty in like the growing deep roots. It's the life cycle. Now we're preaching, but there's just like I remember just you're at college and you have this new class. You see somebody and you see that same person in the student center and you see that same person at the workout. And then it's like you go to a whole new semester with new classes and new people. And it's just,
And you take
you-
the weird class and you get to meet all the weird kids.
yeah. Or then you fail biology for, 2 times and you're taking the 3rd time and you're sitting up front with the biology majors and recording lectures, and going to study groups.
Personal experience.
Yeah, like it was my experience where the professor told me I was an idiot. She's like, if you can't pass this class, you might just be dumb, Corey. And she told me I should. The irony of what I'm about to say is really funny. She told me that she's like, if you can't pass this class, you might as well go work fast food somewhere. And the irony is,
Well, you did both, right? Passed the class and
I passed the class, and I'm still back at a fast food joint. So,
Can't get 'em all, man.
it is what it is. But yeah, college is awesome. College is you just make friends. I guess it's an extrovert stream. Introvert maybe not so much. Yeah.
Never not be in college.
Yeah, and it's just like the idea of like learning and like taking new things. Like I love that world. I love it. It's fun. Sweet. Well, we'll jump in together here. Welcome, Louie. First,
Should we do like a baby dedication? or something?
bring him up. I got coffee. Let's sprinkle him real quick. Man, first Mosaic gathering.
And y'all coordinated?
I know. We didn't even mean to. Walt is also wearing green,
So
so
right now.
there we go.
It's the spirit, man.
Maybe y'all spent too much time together the past 2 weeks.
We've only been together.
Oh, it's hilarious. How's our little king doing? King Louis.
Good.
Just ate.
Passed out.
Gained a pound or something by now. So.
Bulk season. It's
Yeah.
bulking season.
But he's doing good.
Dang, let's go.
I told Emily he had his first longer stretch of sleep last night.
Oh, so you guys are feeling great right now, right?
It was 4.5 hours, you know?
Really strong.
Those extra 2 hours are like lifeblood, though. It's like, man.
Then you wake up from that stretch. Like, oh wow, this is what it looks like.
Did you have the freak out moment where you're like, or did you wake up to him crying?
No, I woke up. I just woke up.
Yeah.
I was
And you're
like,
like,
yeah. I was like, oh, that's nice. Which
Yeah.
with Walt, we freaked out. We were like, is he okay? But with Louis, I was like, oh, this is
Praise
great.
God.
Yeah, thank God.
yeah.
Dang, I'll check on him in a little bit.
No, keep going.
Yeah, I
He's all
was
right.
like, it's been 4 hours. And he was like, we'll just let him go a little longer.
Yeah,
I
just
was
let's
like,
make
"You
this
cry-
thing
you
stretch.
not crying?" Okay, you fine.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's awesome. Well, sweet. Well, I got a thing for us to listen to kind of lead us into the sermon for the day. It's a liturgy from South Bend. I'm obsessed with that chick. What's her name, Blake? She's the girl that sings.
What is her name?
I don't know. Mallory, Marie,
Maria.
Marjorie. She's
Mariah.
Yeah, Mariah. There it is.
Sorry, it took a second.
Yeah, so I've listened to this one liturgy like probably 6 or 7 times. The opening's really great. She basically takes like a secular song and mashes it with a worship song, and so I thought it was like, so me it's like an Enneagram 7 was like, but then she talks about the kingdom and beatitudes toward the end, and she sings this little song, so it's been really helpful for me. So we're gonna do that a little bit, but let's go through real quick. Let's name the good. Let's go through our weeks, the past couple weeks. Me and Emily been gone for a while, so this is our first time back. It feels like you missed one week and you've been gone for a month. And we went camping last week, which was a success. Emily loves camping, and she wants to camp every single weekend now. She never want
I
not.
don't know about every weekend, but I would definitely be up for it.
The
It was-
Instagram post made it sound like it was every weekend.
Yeah,
I said
that's
I
what I'm
was not
saying.
competing for Miss Wilderness yet. Like, I'm not about to go try to find boots yet.
I'm making a purchase for boots.
But I am up for it a lot. And I want to win at camping. I do want to do it again to win at it. Because I think that I could do it more efficiently.
How does one lose at camping?
Yeah,
Because I was not as efficient as I could be, and I should have brought supplies that I didn't. Mhm.
Maybe you can get Blake to like.
oh, I got a strategy. We're gonna do a dudes camping trip, so just get
No,
ready.
I wanna come, so-
All right. So we'll,
It'll just be a mosaic. camp.
yeah, we can definitely do it right.
And win.
And
Win
win.
at camping.
We went camping with people that go camping like 70 times a year though. So
The
they
people
got
that we
like
went camping with were
they're like
going
legit.
camping 4 days later.
yeah.
Like,
And they got all the gear, and they got all. I mean, that's the thing too. So we went camping twice in 7 years. So it's like we just we just don't have anything. And so they had the gadgets, y'all. I mean, I knew it was serious when they brought the jet boil out that like boils water in like 30 seconds. He's got these headlamps that like are motion activated,
it was a good
solar powered lanterns.
and it was beautiful weather.
Yeah, it was
That
great weather.
nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
South Holston, it was Little Oak Campground, but it was nice. They had like drained the lake already, and so there was like a beach now. Because normally you just like stand in the forest and fish,
Yeah.
but they drained it, so the kids got to play on the little beach, and we went kayaking, and that was really fun. And no one caught any fish, but
Yeah, it took a big L on the fishing, but
Yeah.
it was cool.
it was still a
fun.
lot of fun. The kids just like ran through the woods like most of the time and played games. And it was,
Yeah,
it was good.
one kid he climbed a tree and he got stuck, and all of his parents are sitting around the fire talking. Well, then Judah and his buddy come running into the area. He's like, "Brent, he's stuck in a tree. He's stuck in a tree. He's stuck in a tree. You gotta come help!" And so I stuck in a tree, and like we can't even hear him like screaming or crying. Well,
Like and he was like really
yeah, he
high up
did
in the
get really
tree.
high up. Well, so his dad goes and gets him, and it's like 10 minutes later. The dad's been back for a while. Well, then, like, out of nowhere, here comes Brenton out of the woods, and he sits down and he goes, "Dad, why didn't you come get me quicker?" He was like, he's like, "I was stuck in that tree for a long time, and you didn't come get me." And he was like, we didn't even hear you screaming, bro. He's like, well, I wasn't screaming. I was so scared that I wasn't screaming. And it was just this moment where he was like so traumatized by a tree that he climbed.
Yeah.
He got stuck in and was mad at his dad for not coming faster to get him, which is the funniest thing to me. But yeah, so camping was good. We're now at camping. I get to buy a tent. Come on. I'm buying a Jetboil, y'all. Maybe not that. I might get like maybe something different. Maybe something like more rugged, more masculine. Jetboil's the easy way out. So
Isn't a fire the
yeah, I'm just gonna get a pot.
rugged way to boil
Put
something?
it in the fire.
I'm
I'm going to Goodwill to get a pot. So yep, we're now campers. So I'm gonna start.
We did have a
Looking a
frog
lot
in our
cooler.
tent. I woke up and there was a frog in our tent. Not in the inside part, in the vestibule. I don't know what it's called in the tent, but
We borrowed my brother's tent, and it's got like this like
I don't know what it's called.
it's
in
like
the tent.
it's just got this little like awning little thing. It just comes
It's like you
out
walk
and
in
it's
you have the
enclosed,
vestibule
but
where
it,
you can take off your shoes,
like a
and then you
sunroom.
walk into
Think
the actual
sunroom.
tent.
yeah,
Fancy.
yeah.
Sounds like a nice.
But I walked, so I unzipped to go to the bathroom, and there's just a little frog standing there, and we caught it, and Shiloh liked to. He wanted to take it home. We did not take the frog home, but he helped.
Yep.
Hmm?
Okay, I had a pet frog. Look at us saying no to opportunities.
Look it up.
All
So-
right, sorry.
Yeah, that was our thing. This is my last week at Chick-fil-A. So
Oh, nice.
So you're good.
yeah, it's Chick-fil-A. I hate to talk crap about it because Tim's really like he's been so kind to me. It's like I feel bad, but I'm rolling the dice. I still haven't technically started, but I called the guy and I was like, hey man, like because he wants me to come on like a ride along this week to make sure I know stuff.
Oh,
Which
God.
that's a whole separate thing. Which we can talk about that. Because our dad, I don't know if some of y'all don't know, our dad's very handy, like super handy, can fix anything. Like my car wasn't working. He shows my house, opens the hood, it starts working. His mere presence makes things start working. And so I guess people assume that is a hereditary thing.
It's not.
It's not. So, but yeah, so I'm basically going on this little tryout this week, and then if all goes well, I start the next Monday. So I'm rolling the dice and saying I'm having a little bit of either confidence or ignorance that it's all going to go well. Faith, there it is. That's the word. I'm having some faith and believe. So I told him this is my last week at the Chicken Hut.
So
So
you started with Kyle this week when you did the thing?
yeah, Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah, so if y'all think of me Thursday, it means I have my hands in a dryer trying to fix it and I don't know what I'm doing. Or I'm underneath the house.
You can have all my tools if you want.
Yeah, so I'm pulling out all the stuff. I was like, hey, should I bring my own tools? I'm gonna wear steel-toed boots, you know? So it'll be funny. But yeah, I might be up under her house on Thursday trying to like be a plumber because I said, oh yeah, I know plumbing. And now I'm up under her house trying to do this. And so if you think of me Thursdays because of a situation I should have never been in. So I have a lot of those stories. Coaching baseball was one of them. Yeah, I'll be at the house and I will call my father and I'll be like, Dad, here's where I'm at. Please walk me through this.
That even has those one-liners in the construction world. Like,
Yeah.
like doing plumbing, and he's like, just remember, shit always runs downhill.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, all right, yeah,
What am I
okay.
supposed to do with that?
That's all you know.
Good information, but
But here's what I'm doing. You said that, I'm putting that in my pocket because Thursday I will probably pull that out if I'm talking to a plumber. And then we're gonna have this moment like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I can rob from people.
So maybe that's what's hereditary, the bull crapping.
Maybe, I guess. I don't.
Just have some one-liners. Everyone thinks you know.
So if you got any one-liners, please text them to me, please. So I'm gonna have to make it look like I'm a blue-collar, rugged, masculine man. Which in Portland, that's what I was known as. But Portland's a different demographic than the South. So here, that's never been described to me. All right, I'm now shutting up. Someone else talk.
Why don't you say it?
Well, because you say it good.
We've had some
it's not been bad weeks, but just like super hectic weeks. There's a lot going on, a lot of possible changes, a lot of not knowing where we're going to be in, like, still here, but like, I got some job stuff going on. So just kind of that space where it's hard to be present because you're thinking about where could the future be,
yeah.
sort of spaces. And I don't do well when, like, I struggle being present anyway. But yesterday we went up to like Linville and then went across the viaduct and spent some time up in the mountains and just, you know, it's easy to remember how small you are when you're just like looking out and that kind of stuff, right? So that was a really good moment. And I got to go get some good food and good beers, and that's always good too. So
Nice.
just a nice like pause and like connection yesterday. It's cool.
Solid.
Is that good enough for you? Yeah. But also, this is just a crazy thing. It's not good at all, but I'm saying anyway. But we were driving. You said the frog thing. It reminded me of this. We were driving out to the other day, actually. My window was down, and like we were driving 50 miles an hour, and then a frog showed up on my window. Like it fell out of a tree as we were driving and landed on our
How in
window.
the
Man.
world?
It was so scary.
The providence of God.
It's like a plague. Like,
So
like, pull over.
it landed beside my arm, and Rain freaked out about jumping out the window. Yeah, it held on.
oh my gosh, that's wild. You're like, this frog, our frog's falling from the sky.
The 10 plagues of Egypt.
We're going 50 miles an hour, and it just shows up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's terrifying.
Tell me you wouldn't think like, oh, another frog's gonna come
Yeah,
in. You know, like, I protect myself.
that's wild.
That should be the next sermon series. We should go through Exodus.
Frogs falling.
Yeah. We can make it really secret sensitive and like what to do when frogs fall. how to attack life in the midst
It's
of
the first like what 32 chapters, and then
yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
The rest is really difficult.
He's on go with it.
Here's how to build an altar.
All right, guys. Today we're building an altar.
This is what the curtain needs to be made of.
What else? Anything else?
Last Sunday, my sister did her gender reveal for her new baby.
What is it?
It's a girl, which is great, but
Yeah.
we wanted more.
we love life, but
But and it was just my whole family was there, and it was like I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's not like it's my sister, and it's not. It's everyone was just so happy,
yeah.
and to see her like excited about it, it was good. And then also they named it the middle name of the baby is going to be it's like the name of a foreign exchange student that stayed with us for a while, and then her first name is Rosie, which is a play off our last name.
Nice.
And it was a really cool name, but it was just she was so excited and
Yeah.
happy,
It's cool.
and it was just really fun to see her like that. And then my mom's crying,
Yeah.
Robbie's mom's crying, everyone's crying. I'm over here videoing. I'm like this. It was really good.
What a moment. That's good.
Coming off family, my brother and sister-in-law moved to Asheville this week, and from Seattle. So that's really fun. I feel like we officially brought everyone back over here with us. And so
Culture creators.
huh?
We're leaders.
Yeah, and so that's really exciting because we got really close to them when we lived in Portland, just because for a long time they were our only people there. And so really fun to have them back over here. But they hung out with us all day yesterday. Well, with me. Corey was working. But we hung out with them all day yesterday. And Molly Kate talked to my niece, who's 6. She's in 1st grade. And Molly Kate talked to her about like just what to anticipate with like moving and like, you know, how to make new friends at a new school. It was just like super sweet. And because Molly Kate was in 2nd grade when we moved here, and so Charlotte's in 1st, so it's not that much different. And so that was just really sweet to get to have like those moments, but and to know that they're like an hour away. So it was really fun just to have all that, and had some really like encouraging conversations with my brother. My older, it's not Kevin, but I mean, Kevin's great, but it's an older brother, Brett, and so that was fun. And so it was good to have them around. So we'll probably never see him here, but
I don't know. Maybe.
maybe they had to teach
Maybe.
so they're not religious at all, and so they were going to see my grandparents yesterday or Friday, and my grandfather is very conservative, like traditional. And so they were like, okay, Charlotte, Papa is gonna pray before dinner. And she didn't even know what prayer was. Like that was like not even, and he's like, so he's going to talk to God who is like invisible, and he's going to like say, you can close your eyes, you don't have to, but you have to be quiet until he says the word amen, and then you get to talk again.
That's
And,
wild. I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
like, yeah, she had no concept of like, and she asked like, why are they doing this? He's like, well, he wants to thank him for the food. And he's like, she's like so confused about that. And I was like, what a mind blowing concept of just like
It is very
no concept of like what that prayer exists.
This man's gonna stand on the table. He's gonna bow his head and close his eyes.
Yes, like I
He's
mean,
gonna
he
talk
had
to someone
walk
like
her
they're in the
through
room.
exactly what he was going to do.
Who
and
brought the
why he was
food.
doing it. And she's like, she said that it started happening, and she started talking during it. And
Is this the prayer?
yeah, that's like what happened. She's like, started talking. He's like, no, remember what we talked about? She's like, oh, is this a prayer? It's like, oh my gosh, I can't even
That's
imagine.
so funny.
But yeah, so they're gonna have a little bit of culture shock when they get here. So she is at least.
That's hilarious. Did God bring the food? No.
God made this. Well, no,
Your
but-
grandmother made it.
Yeah.
Oh, did he
Is
get it from the
grandma
store?
gone?
No,
Yeah.
grandma went to the store and picked it up. Well, how did he bring it to the store? No,
We
the
just got-
store ordered it from a
Yeah.
farm. Like, so what did God do again?
Yeah. Who is God? Yeah, so funny. But it's just all in all, the good is that they're here. And they have a cool house in downtown Asheville, so.
Yeah, very dope. Sorry, it's not a rush. Just getting it back to the thing.
Your Mac will sleep soon unless it's plugged in.
All right, someone else say something good real quick. I'll let you go.
I will say something real quick.
There you go.
You wanna say something?
I'm like, you think have a new baby, so
Yeah.
someone needs to leave
Yeah.
and Louis is like kind of good.
Louis?
Like,
Louis? Our guy Louis?
I think I'm still trying to conceptualize what's happened in the last 2 weeks, and but the things that I'm able to formulate are a couple things. When Taylor did a VBAC this time, which is like a huge thing. So the first birth of Walt like went completely sideways, and so like leading up to this moment was just a lot of stress and anxiety and worry, and like she did it. It was like beautiful. And,
Yeah,
so,
she
like,
did.
proud of you. So there's a lot of like tears and hardships in this birth, but like it was also really redeeming. And I don't know how to qualify that or even quantify it, but I feel that. You know, it's like it's still been hard and it's a baby, and but like there has been some beauty in it, and whatever it means for us to experience God's presence, or for me to experience God's presence, I think I've experienced it in the last 2 weeks.
That's good.
Yeah, that's I guess all I can formulate right now.
Yeah. Obviously, postpartum hormones are still crazy, but yeah, it was definitely a healing experience for me. And even more than that, I was laying on the couch, and I remember two and a half years ago we had Walt. I was laying in the same spot and just feeling so disconnected from God and wondering where He was at. And I had this moment where I was laying there, and I was just thankful because I didn't feel like God's presence, and it just was really healing for me. And it wasn't just Louis. It was, 2.5 years ago, our life was falling apart. Blake got fired, and the birth was crazy, and my nanny passed away, and it all just happened at once. And then to be laying there 2.5 years later, and for Blake to have a job, and to have another birth that was healing, I just felt really thankful, and I could see that God was, He's been there the whole time, even though like I haven't really felt it. So, and he's a very sweet baby. And the birth was really healing for me too, so,
It's good.
which is what I was praying for. So.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's good. Man. Come on, somebody.
And I had a lot of anxieties, like irrational fears I was gonna die or things like that. Or it is a little dangerous to try to be back sometimes. And just as we drove away from the hospital, I told Blake I broke down a little bit, and I was just like, this is the moment that I like wanted to be. Like, oh, I wanted to see this moment. And yeah, it's just really healing for me. So.
It's good. Man. Come on, somebody. Come on.
Here we are.
Preaching. I'm preaching. Give them a mic.
It is nice to be back here too,
Yeah.
because like she said last time, like we had no good feelings towards either church or anything.
No community whatsoever.
It was only middle fingers to everything. And like we had him, and like we needed to rest, and still need to rest. But it was also this thing. It's like I'm excited to be here.
Dang.
So we're talking to mom. Sorry, this is the last time I said. Mom came over the other day, and she's like, I feel like I'm not helping you guys out as much as I did last time. And I was like, well, last time we were last time. I mean, I lost faith, I lost job, we lost money, we lost everything. And I was like, we're having a hard time this time, sure. But I was like, we're great. I was like, I have a job. My boss is great. And like,
Yeah.
it's just God's grace. I even got time off too. And I was like, I had to fight for time off last time from a church. And so anyways, this is kind of cool.
Dang. It's rich.
All right. That's it.
All right, here, let me play it. It's a little long, but it's soothing. So they're gonna sing about the kingdom of God. This is line says the kingdom is yours. It's just a reminder that, especially when we're talking about the Beatitudes the past few weeks with Jesus and the kingdom of God, that when you're part of the kingdom, the pressure isn't on you. Like that's the beauty of it. It's like Judah this morning was like throwing a fit, and it's like, but it's not on him. He's a child. It's on me. I'm his dad to help him understand how to migrate through emotions and feelings and frustrations. And so when you're talking with this idea, like the kingdom is yours, that's a very church phrase. But the idea is it's reminding yourself that it's not your kingdom. Meaning, which we get mad at that, like, oh, it's not my way. Well, it's a good thing it's not your kingdom. It's a good thing it's not my kingdom, because then the pressure's not on me. The pressure that if the kingdom is yours, meaning, hey, God's got this. He's got it. And you can trust in it. You can find rest in it. You can find hope and healing in it. And so that's kind of pushed. And they read the Beatitudes through it. So sit there. You can journal through it. You can sit there and think through it. Listen for words and phrases to pop out at you. But this has been good for my soul the past few weeks. So.
The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. One more time, the kingdom. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him.
When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted.
And blessed are the ones who do not bury all the broken pieces of their heart. And blessed are the tears of all the weary, pouring like a sky of falling stars. And blessed are the wounded ones in mourning, brave enough to show the Lord their scars. And blessed are the hurts that are not hidden, open to the healing touch of God. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him.
Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled.
And blessed are the ones who fight for justice, longing for the coming day of peace. And blessed is the soul that thirsts for righteousness, welcoming the last, the lost, the least. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him.
Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God.
And blessed are the ones who walk in kindness, even in the face of great abuse. And blessed are the deeds that go unnoticed, served with unguarded gratitude. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him.
Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account.
Blessed are the ones who suffer violence and still have strength to love their enemies. And blessed is the faith of those who persevere. Though they fall, they'll never know defeat. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Blessed are the ones who suffer violence and still have strength to love their enemies. And blessed is the faith of those who persevere. Though they fall, they'll never know defeat. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. In the Lord, keep your eyes on Him. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. One more time. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him.
Let's pray together. God, thank you for this morning. God, thank you for just this time to stop and turn our minds and our hearts back to you. So God, remind us this morning that the kingdom is yours, that this whole thing is yours. We can experience you and see you everywhere, in all things, through all things, for all things. So God, help us just to understand that, to surrender to that, to trust it. God, help us this morning, whether we're at the start of something new, in the middle of it, or at the end. God, remind us that you've been with us through it all. So God, be with us today. We love you. We're thankful for you. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, I'm gonna rush through this a little bit. I don't want to keep you here. I wasn't fully. To me, when I listen to that, it goes by so quick in my brain. But that was like 8 minutes, and I'm like, dang, 8 minutes. So, I'm gonna talk to you guys. Here's my brief outline. All right, we're gonna talk about happiness, swimming pools. I'm gonna show you some pictures of trash. Talk about the Beatitudes, the kingdom. I'm gonna give you a quote by a girl named Cynthia. We'll talk about that quote by Cynthia. Give you another quote by Jason Miller, and then talk about pure of heart. And we're gonna try to do all that in a short time. So buckle up. So here's what I'm talking about. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. I'm gonna do this a little out of order already, just because I want you to see this. This is a very interesting thing. When Jesus comes on the scene, he's talking about Beatitudes, about the kingdom of God. He offers these phrases that aren't uncommon. It's very normal for a rabbi teacher to come on and say the thing. This is the blessed life. This is the good life. This is what I'm teaching. If you want to adhere to these things, if you want to follow these things, this is how to do it. And so Jesus doing this isn't abnormal whatsoever, but the things at which he says are vastly different than everything else that's been said up until this point in life. Typically, like I said last time I spoke, that every single world power that's ever come up to this point has a different mantra way of life. I talk about Caesar. His thing was like, it's peace through conquest. Like if you can't find peace, go take peace. Either live by the sword, die by the sword. And then Jesus comes on the scene. He says, no, peace comes through surrender. Very different. So Jesus goes through these little things. And the word beatitude, which is embarrassing, I realized I spelt it wrong last time. Very not to the, it was be attitude, not beatitude. Spell check, come on now. But Jesus offers this phrase, and it's literally this word, makarios. It's happy, is what it translates. Happy are you when you're poor in spirit. Happy, congratulations, fortunate are you when you're mourning and afraid and alone. And it's strange. Over and over, he's saying happy, happy, happy. And so as I was looking at the past couple of weeks, I had this thought here. Does God want you to be happy? Like, I know like Jesus has said it a bunch of times, but the tradition that I grew up in would say, definitely, God doesn't care about your happiness. What does he care about? Your holiness. Come on, somebody. like here's the thing. It's like, no, it's not about your happiness. Happiness is so fickle. It's about the underlying joy. Remember the whole sermons we sat through with joy, the difference between joy and happiness? And it's like, where are we at right now? But God doesn't care about your happiness. He cares about your holiness, about you being set apart. And so how you answer this question dictates a lot about your life, so much about your life. And I think the concept of it isn't really that difficult. And I think we try to separate things. We try to like come up with fine lines between things and separate happiness from holiness and joy and happiness. We try to separate those things when the reality is I'm not sure those things are all that different. Like, what if your holiness and your happiness, I'm not talking about joy here, I'm talking about your happiness. I want to make that clear. Your perceived enjoyment of your life. What if those two things are the same thing? Because what Jesus talks about is not difficult at all. It's very simple. It's like a swimming pool. There it is. Like, if I was to ask you right now, hey, can somebody please describe to me a swimming pool? You'd be like, okay. It's a hole in the ground. Sometimes it's not even a hole in the ground. Sometimes it's just a reservoir. It's a bucket. Sometimes you can put a tarp in the bed of a truck. You fill that thing up with water. Bam, you got yourself a pool. It's some type of device or hole in the ground that can hold water, and you swim in it. You get inside it, and you have a good time. But here's the thing. But if you've gotten to a swimming pool before, and you're walking, and you didn't quite realize how deep the water was going, and some pools are slippery, and you slip, and you go underwater, and then you're on that, especially like in homes up in the backyard, like the decline on some of those in-ground pools are insane. So you slip and you're just going and you're down, you're done for. If you can't swim, you're done for. Even the concept of swimming, very simple concept. Just kick. Literally, that's all it is. Like, if you can't swim, just kick. But I try to teach swim lessons this past summer, guys. Difficult to try to get this idea of swimming into people's minds. But even swimming pools, you get into it, and you realize that there's more to this swimming pool than just a hole in the ground filled with water. That the more you experience it, you're like, this is a lot bigger than I thought. And then even people's applications of swimming pools. Like, I'm not a guy that likes to use the stairs with swimming pools. I think it's putting more pain in your life. You're like, I'm gonna get used to the water. Let me just get used to it real quick. No, just jump in. Getting used to the water is it's cold. Like, and you're gonna slowly get into something that hurts. No, we're gonna ice plunge this thing. Come on now, like, jump in, full cannonball, jump in this thing. Some people go to swimming pools and don't even get in. They want to have the pool experience. They want to be beside the pool, have a few drinks, have a good time, listen to music. They don't even want to swim at all. Then there's people that don't even get out of the pool. You see this, like, swimming pool originally was like a simple concept, but the experience of the swimming pool is very vastly different. So when we're talking about some of this stuff, the deeper you get into it, I think the deeper enriching it is. And some people have a simple idea of what the kingdom of God is, or what happiness is, or what holiness is. And what I think Jesus is pushing us to is, hey, it's time to actually get in the pool. Because what we've settled for most of our lives is we love pastors and teachers that can describe swimming pools to us in the most eloquent ways. We love a pastor that can preach to us and can alliterate his points on swimming pools. They all start with S's. It's crazy. Or the theologian that gets up and describes the mere intricacies and deep thoughts about swimming pools. There's teachers out there that can tell us about how the filtration system works and the chemicals. You're like, this is crazy. I didn't even know these words existed. This is wild. And we love to sit in churches and hear all about the description of swimming pools. But we don't like it when somebody teaches us how to swim. Or, hey, come get in the water. Like, I don't want to get in the water. It's cold. And I think what Jesus is beckoning in all the Beatitudes, not just this one today, but I think what Jesus is beckoning us all is, hey, come here and let's get in the pool together. And we don't like those teachers. We don't. I don't like them. You want to tell me how to live? You mean I can't do that? You mean I can't just like jump in the deep end and not kick? I have to kick? Well, if you want to survive, yeah. Like you mean that I can't just like Shiloh, he's that boy is dense. He's going to sink straight to the bottom. He may kick and it may not work for him. We might have to figure something out. That kid's so thick with 3 C's and a Q. So he got to have his swimmies on. But that boy, he does not want them. Like he wants to take those things off and he does not like me. I'm like, bro, you cannot even get near the water without those swimmies. You can't even think of swimming pools without those swimming. He don't like it. We don't like people telling us what to do, how to live, how to think. We don't like it because that's the thing. Jesus got crucified over this kind of thing because he wasn't here just to merely describe a way of life or to describe God. He was trying to illuminate a type of life that you can actually live and something you can actually experience for yourself here and now in these present moments. That's what Jesus came to do. So I don't know if you've ever seen these. This is Rob from our guy, Tim Mackey. Shout out to old Tim. This is Tim and Sue Webster. Oh, man, they're out of order. No. We'll go here. All right, we'll go here. So basically, these are they're Brits from London. They did this art show. It's actually, you can look these up if you want to waste 2 hours of your life later. Just Google their names, and they have tons of them. Some of them are disgusting, like nasty, but brilliant. There's a YouTube video out there too where people that they film people walking into these like exhibits, and it's hilarious because you literally walk in a room. What do you see here? Yes. It's trash, right? Like it's just trash. And people are looking around and you're like, what the crap is this? This is like one of them abstract artists. We went to Savannah, Georgia a couple years ago. We went to Scad's art gallery down there and we walked. There was a few pieces. I'm like, what is this? Like some pieces are incredible. You're like, this is awesome. Oh my gosh. And one of them was like, I couldn't find the picture. It's just this little trinket on a table that this guy he found this trinket at a yard sale, put it in his attic. It was like some Japanese ink thing. And he just sets it on a table and he calls it art. And I was like, can I put a hammer on the table?
One of them was just grass.
Yeah, it's just grass. He's like
Grass.
And so like you see people walking in on this and he's like, oh, this is one of those art shows. Like that you're gonna watch it and you're not gonna be able to understand it. Yeah, we've all seen those art pieces before. But then out of nowhere, the light comes on in the background. And what do you see in the background? It's a silhouette. And then you even see the title. It's Wasted Youth. So London had a really bad youth homelessness epidemic in the early 2000s. And so they were actually, they're activists. They're trying to call attention to it, that typically what you see as trash is actually youth. And we got to do something about it. So that's what they're doing. But the first one is like that too. It's a table. You walk in on a table, you see cans, but then a light comes on. And you see this. I don't even know how you do this. Like, it's like the second you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is wild. Like, I don't even know, like, suppose they take like BB guns and knives and like, do you start with the light on? Do you start with the light off? Or they construct this thing? It's wild. But then you see that and you're like, oh, okay. I see what's going on here. So then you go to another one. You see this thing. But look at what's everybody doing right now. Are you trying to figure out what it is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, look at this. In just 3 short images. Oh, okay, I'll look at this. Bam. Look at that. In just 3 short images, we went from looking at a bunch of trash on the ground, trash on table, and a conglomerate of a mess of a thing. But we know this isn't the thing. This isn't the thing you're supposed to be looking at. We all know, hey, there's something else going on here. We just got to wait to see it. And this is what I think, this is, you can use this illustration for a lot of the Bible, that there's a lot more going on than just what's going on in the text. It's like, it's the biggest case for Esther, where God is never mentioned in the book, but God's all over the book. And the whole Bible is this way. It's like, as you read it and you understand it, you start seeing the stuff that's so much bigger. So then what you used to see was this. We've all been there when you pick up a Bible and you're like, what is the one am I reading? You're in Leviticus. You're like, dear God. You're like, what'd they do with the doves? Molly Kate was there in Judges, and they went to the judge with the dude's wife who does the tent spike through the. Oh, it's incredible. And she's asking me about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that girl's awesome. But you're reading that, you're like, what is?
We're reading this to children.
Like that's yeah, it's like, and I make a joke. I'm like, yo, Chica had biceps, and she's like, what? I'm like, you to shove a tent spike through a dude's skull? Like that girl was burly. Like that ain't like I'm not sure.
Doesn't hold back.
What?
Judges doesn't hold
No. Judges is wild. But you see all this, and you're like, what is going on? But we gotta start training our brain as you're reading. There's something else going on. And this is what Jesus is doing here, especially when he gets to this one we're talking about today. He said, happy are those who are pure in heart, for they shall what? See God. There's something, Jesus makes this connection that purity and sight, the condition of your heart and the condition how you see are connected. There's something going on here that we got to wake up to. Typically, how I heard this beatitude growing up was anytime purity is mentioned, it obviously becomes sexual. Because obviously there's no other purity other than sexual purity out there. Sure. Yes. Be ethical, be moral, nada. It's one of those things in the Bible that I feel like we've really pushed on in the Christian world when we really should be like, yeah, hey, don't be dumb. Like, come on now. Don't steal from people. Like, don't murder. Like, I don't know if you need the Bible for that, but don't do it. All right. Like, one, it's illegal, and two, it's bad. Yeah, don't be lustful. Don't be sleeping around. You got more value than that. Yeah, but the reason why we make that too, because it's an easier line to draw in the sand. It's harder to be pure in heart when you're having bitterness because someone hurt you and you're not going to forgive them for it. Or you're going to wait and get yours. That's a harder line. See, it's easy to be like, hey, don't have sex. Very hard to be like, you know what? I got some people in my life that I just don't like. And I don't want to go in here to figure that out. This old Cynthia. Oh, let me get out of the way here. She's an Episcopal mystic, but she says this. Yeah, I'm gonna call her Cynthia. All right. The heart in the ancient sacred traditions has a very specific and perhaps surprising meaning. It's not the seat of our personal affective life or even ultimately of our personal identity, but an organ for the perception of divine purpose and beauty. It is our antenna, so to speak, given to us to orient us toward the divine radiance and to synchronize our being with its more subtle movements. The heart is not for personal expression, but for divine perception. I thought this was so good. You have to understand when Jesus says pure of heart, he's a first century Jewish rabbi. He grew up in a world where the heart wasn't just something that love comes from. It's not even an organ in their brains. The heart is the headquarters of your life. It's the most closely we can get to soul. It's even more than that in the Jewish thought, that your will, your choices, your actions, read Psalms and Proverbs. It's all about the heart. That is the headquarters of your life. The thing beneath the thing that dominates and rules your life is your heart. And that it is your heart that can see God. It's your soul that can perceive divine perception. And so when Jesus comes and sings, says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. I love Dallas Willard. He says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God, for they're the only ones that would want to. So there's something with purity and clarity. So there's a connection between the condition of our inner world and the way we see the world around us. That this is the hard part about this beatitude, is it kind of pushes a little bit more, because once again, Jesus he doesn't just draw the easy lines. He's making it bigger. That we have to understand that there's things that have been done to you, done by you, done around you that has affected your sight. It's the old song, "Open the eyes of my heart, Lord." Come on. Your heart's got eyes. I should play it. I should have brought my guitar. It's the 4-chord mantra. Come on. Your heart has eyes. And there's an old phrase I've heard tons of pastors say, so I'm not sure who said it. It's like, you don't see things as they are, you see things as you are. That you and me are walking around now and we see and perceive things dimly because there's things in here we can't get rid of. Jesus later goes on in Matthew, he talks about this, the plank and the speck of dust. We heard of that. Hey, why are you calling out your brother for the speck of dust when you have a plank in your eye? And that Jesus draws this absurdity, this metaphor, because he's like, this guy's walking around with a plank in his eyes, and he's calling out people with dust in their eyes. This is crazy. But he's drawing this out for a reason. Jason Miller talks about this. He says, someone is walking around with a major unresolved issue in their own life. It's a big enough deal that other people probably notice it too. Its scale is dramatic. Its impact is significant. But rather than dealing with their own issue, this person sees an issue in someone else. And the issue they see is a small echo of the issue they're dealing with. Until they deal with their own issue, they won't see clearly, and they can't be trusted to deal with other issues. So Jesus has this moment. It's like, hey, the state of your heart, what you're carrying around, it's a big deal. Happy are those who are pure in heart, for they shall see God, because there's nothing blocking their vision. There's nothing coming in way of clarity. He goes on, it says, we take on a wound or inherit a fear, whether from personal experience or the stories in the headlines, and we begin to see the world around us through the lens of that unhealed hurt. Someone who has been wounded by betrayal is more likely to suspect betrayal in other situations. Someone who has been abused by someone with power is more likely to be suspicious of anyone in power. And all of us who keep meditating on the incessant stream of images and videos curated to keep our attention by raising our fear are likely to be affected. The shadows we carry end up being the shadows we see, even when they're not really there. So, what does all this mean? Is that there's a connection between pure of heart and sight and seeing God. And so a natural response to this is, okay, I want to be pure of heart. What do I got to do? All right. And we kind of typically respond with trying to eliminate all the junk. Now, should you probably get off your phone more? Yeah, that's probably a healthy practice. Sure. Should you clean up how you talk and how the images you put in your face? Yeah, probably. Should you probably deal with maybe some hurt in your life? Yeah. Whether it was warranted or unwarranted? Yeah, 100%. But here's what I know. If there's a connection between pure of heart and seeing God, then there's a connection between seeing God and becoming pure of heart. And so if there's a way that pure of heart, purity leads us to clarity, then maybe if we start seeing God in all things, maybe that'll start opening us to have pure hearts. Because what we do know is that this whole thing that Jesus is doing is about transformation. He wants to invite us into the swimming pool. Come on in, the water's fine. And one of the ways at which you can do that, and I can do that this week, tomorrow, today, is trying to see God everywhere. In all the hurt, in all the good, in all the joy, in all the despair, in all the frustration, all the unknown, all the chaos. When you wake up on a Sunday morning and your son decides to be a big bad man, and you tell him to either shut his mouth or you're going to shut it for him, and you have this moment where you're like, what am I saying? It's like, what is going on here? I've given him 4 hugs already this morning. 4 hugs. He's already sustained. And everything up here is going to be getting him to thrive. But I made this very conscious choice this morning to do that because we had a very rough morning. And I want him to see God. And if I want him to see God, then I have to see God. And then if I want to do that, then I need to make I need to bring some forgiveness and grace and patience and steadiness to his life. And I need to let him know it's okay. People make mistakes. He needs to hear that. I've hugged him 4 times. I've told him, bro, it's okay. It's okay. That's the hardest thing to do, is to see God in all things, to see him everywhere, and to understand that everything belongs. Everything. And so this week, if this is like, happy are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. You want to see God? You got to open your eyes a little bit, open up your heart a little bit, because that's the antenna. It's the radar. As you're going to class, you're going to work. I'll be at Chick-fil-A tomorrow morning. This is going to be the hardest week of all time, knowing I only got 4 shifts left. It's like, man, is there ways? Where's God at in here? Where's God at this place? Where's God at with this conversation? Where's God at in this moment? And it's the good moments. And so to wrap all this all up, and we'll close it here because I'm already over. Does God want you to be happy? I think he does. But here's the problem. Happiness is a byproduct. It's like a happiness in your marriage, in your relationships, in your friendships. Like, it's not good to have friends and relationships and be like, hey, I want that we're going to pursue happiness. That's not how it works. Happiness is a byproduct. So when you're a really good friend and you have a good friendship, a good relationship, a good spouse, like, happiness comes from that. It's not a pursuit. So happiness is a byproduct of a rightly ordered life. That when you have your life rightly ordered, the way Jesus is saying, hey, happy are those that are pure in heart, for they shall see God. You will experience enjoyment of this life. That you can be poor in spirit. You can be mourning. You can be troubled. You could be alone. You could be fearful. You could be standing in the middle of trying to give mercy without receiving mercy. You could be trampled on and overlooked. You could be rendered powerless in your job and in your friendships. And you can still experience complete and utter enjoyment, but you have to have a rightly ordered life. And where does a rightly ordered life come from? It comes from a rightly ordered soul. And so, how do you have a rightly ordered soul? You see God in all things. It's a perception of your life to know that God is everywhere. And that if the pure in heart will see God, and if I can start to see God, then I'll start having a pure heart. And life will bring more clarity. Friendships, relationships will have some clarity. Because if we're honest, we deal with a lot of fog. A lot of times. We kind of never really for sure know. And I'm not saying you do these 7 steps and everything's going to become completely clear. But you may not know what the next 7 steps look like, but I can promise you're gonna have a good feeling about the next step. And even if you don't feel good about it, what we can bank on is the promise, are happy are those that see God, for they're pure in heart. Happy are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And so this week, as we're going through this, if you want to have him pure in heart, pursue being pure heart. Yes, eliminate things. Sure, that's good. Yes. But more so than that, what are ways in which you can start experiencing this life to get into the pool, get on the diving board and cannonball in, and try to see God in all things? It's a mantra. Everything belongs. Everything belongs. So you can think of me tomorrow morning when I'm forearm deep in some raw chicken and I'm getting told by an 18-year-old that I'm not doing it right. And I audibly, this is weird. I don't think my wife fully understands this sometimes, because I tell her this all the time. Like, I say this to myself all the time. It's not in my head, guys. I talk to myself. I will be forearm deep in raw chicken and I'll be like, everything belongs. Everything belongs. see God in all things. I audibly say this crap, and it's not even a joke. Like I'll even walk into work sometimes. I have this little phrases from the wedding of Cana. I ain't got time to, but it's called fill the jars. It's what Jesus says to command for the miracle to happen. He said you had to fill the jars. That you have to make way for this miracles of God. And so sometimes we just want God to come in and swoop and zap us with things, but really there's this element of making ready, making space for the miracle of God to work. And so sometimes I'll fill the jars, fill the jars. Everything belongs. That's the point of a mantra, to say it out loud, because when you say it out loud, it becomes real. And so try it this week. Make it a little weird. You might be with a screaming baby, all right? And you might have to look at little Louie and be like, everything belongs. Everything belongs. And Walt, sit your butt down. So everything belongs, because if God is in all things and through all things, then there is no deficiency of God anywhere. So this week, pursue seeing God in all things, and maybe little by little, you'll start experiencing pure heart. Let's pray together. God, thank you so much for this morning. God, thank you for this word. So God, help us this week. God, open up our eyes, open up our ears. God, open up our hearts, God, to where you are right now. God, I pray even in this moment that you bring to light situations that we've overlooked. We've seen your hand move and we've kind of ignored it. So God, help us to see you this week, whether it be through weather or a conversation or a moment, a conversation with a coworker, a boss, a friend. God, I pray that you speak to us, and God, help us to realize that it's your presence, that you're all around us. We're not alone, and that we can see you, and we can open up to the things that you have for us. God, we know that happy are those of pure in heart, for they shall see you. God, we want to see you. So God, help us this week to become people that are pure in heart. We love you. We're thankful for you. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Well, friends, we'll be back at it next week. So if you need anything, holler at somebody. You got people everywhere. You're not alone. So, all right. Go with God. Grace and peace.